Blog Talk Radio. Hello, everyone. You're listening to Ascended Radio, and this is your host, Jessica Spencer. I'm so excited to be with you tonight because my mentor and wellness extraordinaire, Dr. Richard London, is on the show, as I stated last week. And for those of you who don't know, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't know, Dr. Richard London is a world-renowned author and business consultant, and he tells us what our future really looks like. There's so much uncertainty in our world today, and people know that the tools of the past are no longer working for them, and that's something that I can vouch for. He's the leading visionary manifestation business intelligence coach in the world. Dr. London provides the tools that work in this 21st century. He served as the CEO, Chief Education Officer, CVO, CMO, and VMBC of several companies, as well as being a business consultant for over 25 years. His clients include famous media and entertainment personalities, industry leaders and corporate leaders, leaders of countries and major organizations worldwide. He's the founder of 14 world charities, as CEO of Prodigy Mind Companies, which is www.prodigymind.com. He directed the building of 200-plus web-based companies that educate professionals, www.educationdigest.com. Dr. Richard London is author of the forthcoming books, Doctorate of Business Life, and Creating Success and Wealth with No Limits, and Great Language, Great Life. Communicate to Wealth, Words That Create Miracles in Your Life. And his Doctorate of Business Wellness System states that the doorway to agreement and the action steps to get you there are within the tools that he can provide. And as I've said, he is my mentor and just a huge reason, if not the reason, that I do this show. He's guided me throughout the whole thing and definitely assisted me in creating the life that I love. So, Dr. London, I want to welcome you again to the show.
Thank you very much. I want to meet that man. he sounds wonderful. First thing that I'd like to do is reach out to everyone, and I'd like to give everyone a big, big, giant hug. I especially want to give a hug to somebody you know very dearly, Shirley Spencer, your mother, who has so gracefully ascended. Yes, I'm really, really pleased with her growth as well as your growth. So it's been a real, real pleasure being mentor to both of you. And a big hug to Shirley, big hug to you, Jessica. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on tonight. It's going to be a great show. I would like everybody to grab a piece of paper because the things that I'm going to share with you are big, really big, some real, real big secrets that very few people in the whole wide world know. Isn't that great?
Absolutely. I'm grabbing a pen and paper. I'm going to multitask here because I know that everything that you say is astonishing every time you come on the show. Something new.
Well, yes. Tonight, the first thing is I'm going to reveal a secret. I listened to the voice inside of me and my heart-centered intelligence, and it kept on saying, do research, do research. So I looked at people's lives, poor people, rich people, movie stars, famous people, people in the world of crime, people from every walk of life, and I was just driven. Why did their lives end up the way that it did? Why were their lives cut short? Why did some of them, and only very few, live this long, long, long life? And what I discovered, listeners out there, is the reason many people are troubled in the world today is, guess what? The majority of human beings have no definition. Imagine the word hello, goodbye, wealth, wellness, and it had no definition. When a word has no definition, it means it has no energy connected with it. It's the same way with humans. Having no definition of who you are, unfortunately, the universe doesn't know. So we need to define who we are. It sounds like it's really simple, but I've never met anyone other than the people that I've taught recently who have a definition for themselves and for their lives. So it's a big definition that one creates. If you want to have a little life, you write a little definition. And listeners out there, there's no middle road anymore, no medium. You just have a little life or you have a supersized life. And I'd like to see everyone have a supersized life. There's no reason not to have a supersized life. So what you can do is look at who you are, and I want you to really, really define who you are. And I'll read one definition. This is my actual one part. I have, for my definition, 4 parts. The first one is a life filled with love, peace, wellness, wealth, spirituality, warmth, wisdom, dedication to others, high energy, childlike soul, internal spiritual growth back to crystalline DNA, and the external creation of companies, programs, wisdom that makes the world a better place. So that's one paragraph. So the definition of my life so far, and you can add to your definition, has 4 paragraphs. You could have one on yourself. You could have one on family. You could have one that defines your divine purpose in this life. But really, really put it in writing. Now, there's only one person that I know of that he moved in and he defined his life, not accidentally, probably by plan, and that's Richard Branson. And I recommend everybody look at his life because he's living an extraordinary life because he brought people into his life. He looked at what they did, and then he defined his life. So look at your life, and you can look at famous people that you really admire. And then you can really, really create this defined life that you deserve. And it really is a secret. When you define your life, it changes the complete energy, and then you're known by the universe. Without a definition, there's no energy attached to you. And this evening, I'm going to do something very, very special. We're going to be talking about spiritual tools to reach ascension. And ascension is really wellness. That's being whole in mind and spirit. So I'm going to give you key sentences that will impact your life. The first one is where we vibrate impacts our reality. Where we vibrate impacts our reality. So let me give you an example. You're in your bedroom and you're crying all the time because you can't pay a bill, say as an example. So when you're crying, it's good that you're crying because you're releasing emotion. But then when you're worried and you're in fear about lack and about not paying something, not able to pay something, here's what happens, is your vibration goes really low. And then guess what happens to your reality? It goes into shock. Yes. And I'm going to be painting pictures and describing everything to make it more real for you. Imagine your existence goes into shock. And then what happens is you don't get the wealth that you deserve because you were ready to get that wealth. And then you blocked it. Everything is energy. Remember that. Everything is energy. And the reason that humans really, really, really damage their lives because of the experience of fear, our sadness, our grief, our loss of a boyfriend, a husband, or whatever it might be, depression. And I hate that word depression. It's because these words, fear, sadness, depression, they have this great negative density connected to them. And what happens if you're dealing in that particular realm, then what happens is your life becomes very dense and you become consumed, absolutely consumed with the fear, the depression. All those areas create this cloud over you. And then the cloud gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And guess what happens? It consumes your whole existence. Jessica, I'm sure maybe in your life and maybe people around you, you've seen them just completely devastated due to depression or fear or sadness. Have you not?
Absolutely.
Yes. And it's a horrible experience. I experienced one migraine headache in my life, and I guess the universe wanted me to see what it was like. And it was the most debilitating experience I ever had in my entire life. So what you have to do is you need to shake off this density. Shake it off. When you're laying there, just take your hands, take your whole body, and shake it off. And I want to share something with you that is extraordinary. Is zebras, as an example, when lions around the zebras, they go into the fear mode. Yes. And many animals go into the fear mode. And things are tense for them. But as soon as the predators leave, guess what happens? These animals go back to the normal state. Humans do not. What we do is we take it inside. So we're taking the stuff inside and we're continuing to bring in that fear, and then we live with it. So the way to get rid of it is you need to feel all these emotions. And remember, emotions are always in motion. So emotions are always moving. So you have to move all these emotions out of you. Cry, jump up and down, scream, get all this stuff out of you. Because for all of our lives, we weren't taught to just stop and don't take the stuff in. Animals, I guess, in some ways they're smarter than us. They stay in fear a short time, and then they go back to everything is normal. Yes. Now, we are all light. Remember that. We are all light. We are not dark. I've never met an imperfect person. Yes. And no one out there is broken. No matter what anybody said to you, you're not broken and you're not imperfect. You're just having a unique experience. Now, in oneness, remember, there is no hierarchy. This is important for you. In oneness, there is no hierarchy. In other words, if a person's a guru, if the person's the Pope, if the person's the President of the United States, in the spiritual world, there is no hierarchy. We are all one. Isn't that wonderful? Nobody's above you. Nobody's below you. We're all just one. And here's the most interesting thing. We're all here to have an individualized experience of our reality. So we're not supposed to be like Dr. London. We're not supposed to be like Jessica Spencer. We're supposed to be individualized. and we express ourselves in an individual manner. Media promotes people to be like everybody else. But in the spiritual realm and in moving into wellness and ascension, in oneness, there is no hierarchy. Isn't that wonderful, Jessica? That we're all on the same plane. We're just having different experiences. Yes.
Wow, that explains a lot.
Yes, it explains a lot. Humanity is one organism. Remember that. Humanity is one organism. So we're all part of this one organism, and we're basically doing our thing. Yes. We're doing the Dr. Richard London thing. We're doing the Jessica Spencer thing. And you listeners are doing your thing, but in one big giant organism. So if you can visualize that, and I'm visualizing it, and I'm seeing all of you listeners out there all part of one organism, doesn't that make you feel wonderful? So what does this mean? You're always loved. You're never, never alone. How can you be alone if you're part of this one big giant organism and you're off in one area doing your thing, jumping up and down? Yes. Yes.
Wow,
That's
I love
wonderful.
that you said it like that. Yeah, that's such a different way to look at it, and it would probably, hinder a lot of us from causing any, or not that we cause someone else pain, but from, seeing anybody else as love because we see them as a part of ourselves.
Exactly. Yes. But the interesting thing is we're all doing our thing. So it's not one big organism where everyone is moving in the same direction, or every piece of light and energy there looks the same. It's all different because it's who we are. See, the goal in life is peace within yourselves. The goal of life is peace within yourself. When you're there, you're in ascension. You're in wellness. So what I want all the listeners now to do is draw a little box with your name on it. And I want you to look inside of you intuitively and determine from 0 to 100% how filled up you are. So the human soul and spirit is like a gas tank. It needs to be filled up 100% and overflowing. So look at it. Look at your gas tank and tell me, and write it down, send it by chat over to Jessica, how filled up you are. Now, a lot of teenagers in the world are only between 8 and about 18%. So they're suffering. And then we have a group of 35 to 50-year-olds who are also suffering. They're 12 to about 22. Yes. They're really suffering. They're not filled up. They're empty. They're looking. They want to be filled up. They want love. They want money. And, I want to share with you, money is the problem, not the solution. For all you seeking money because you have to pay bills, the more you think about money, the more you're in lack because it's the problem and not the solution. Your energy, not your mind, your energy is what creates the wealth in your life. Yes. You have to accept yourself. That's one of the keys. Embrace who you are. Embrace your humanity. Yes. Really embrace yourself. I have a concept called the winning in the divine game of life. Wow. So we're all playing this divine game of life. Jessica, Dr. Richard London, everyone out there in the world. But here's how you win it. The person who needs the least wins. I'm going to repeat that. Remember, in the divine game of life, and it is the game that we're all playing, the person who needs the least is the one that wins in life. And we want to win in life because in winning means that we've ascended, that we're fifth dimensional. Yes. Accept yourself just the way that you are. Yes. And here's an important point. Remember, when you're at your lowest in your life, when you're crying and saying, God, help me, and so forth, and you're vulnerable, that's when the greatest power comes. True power comes in our vulnerability. Imagine, in our vulnerability. Do you know why? It's because that's the point of authenticity. And that's the point where your energy just expands. Because everything is energy. A normal human being vibrates at 234. There's a scale from 0 to 1,000, and then there's a secret scale that goes from 1,000 exponentially tenfold to 10,000, then 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, on up. Yes. So this whole process of ascension, it is about authenticity. It's about loving yourself. It's about growing in vibrational energy, because everything that's created is not created by your brain. So wealth is by your brain. All the things created are created by a human's expression of their vibrational energy. So you want your energy to be a rocket. Yes, you want it to be a rocket. You want to live the authentic embodiment of who you are. The authentic embodiment of who you are. And then you become an individualized expression of everything you can be. Imagine an individualized expression of who you are in every way. Yes. Imagine the real person coming out. Most people don't know the real person inside of them. Yes. Isn't it wonderful, Jessica, to know the real person inside of Jessica Spencer?
Yes. It's awesome.
Yes. It's awesome because you filled up. And what you listeners can do as an experiment is, from this point on, when you go to a restaurant or you're out someplace, what I want you to do is I want you to pretend you're doing a research and look at people and use your intuition to discover how filled they are up. And remember, in the world today, if you're trying to do business, or you have a relative, or you have a friend, if they're at a level from, say, 0 to about 25%, having a relationship in most cases will be problematic because they're so needy. If they only have 0 to 25% and they're 75% empty, they're looking for you and things in their life to fill themselves up. So then you make a decision, and then you create healthy boundaries. If you look up the word boundaries, it will tell you it means limits. But really in the world, boundaries set you free, because then you develop a special way to deal with somebody at work, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a business associate, everybody in your life. Yes. unbelievable. It brings you to such a great point in life. And remember, the new energy and the new intelligence out in the world today, it's called heart-centered intelligence. What does it mean? The heart is capable of producing 5,000 or more times electromagnetic energy. And when you produce electromagnetic energy, you're producing atoms. We are all made of atoms. Everything in the world is made of atoms. So that's your remote control, and that's your creative mechanism, not your brain, but your heart-centered intelligence. 5,000 times more electromagnetic energy. Wow. And when you're vibrating at a high level, you're producing even more. Imagine what you can create. Yes. In the future, as everyone moves into ascension in the fifth dimension, you'll be able to create whatever you want. Imagine you're talking with someone and you say to the person, let's go to Paris. And you actually transport your energy to Paris within seconds. Yes. First time you do it, it's going to be scary. But I could get used to it very quickly. Yes. It would be fun to be able to move in and out of your favorite places all over the world from, hour to hour and minute to minute during the daytime. Yes. Because when I was a child, I always imagined myself on a magic carpet. Yeah, I could instantly go any place that I would like. Now, here's the greatest information anyone has ever received in their life. I want everyone, I'm going to repeat it 3 times. At some point in life, we have to be good enough for ourselves. At some point in life, we have to be good enough for ourselves. At some point in life, we have to be good enough for ourselves. Wow. Yes. The majority of people in the world, even famous movie stars, they don't feel that they're good enough. Yes. That's why if you look at famous people's lives, you'll see that their lives are troubled. They're like soap operas because they don't believe that they're good enough for themselves. So once you realize that you're good enough for yourself, wow, that is the greatest transformation. Yes. Then, like I've heard from people, I want to be with a man or a woman because I'm looking for someone to complete me. Have you ever heard that expression from friends?
Yes.
Yes. When you're at this point, you don't need anyone to complete you. You have people in your life because you want to share that wonderful person who you are. And there's so many wonderful, just exciting human beings out there that are hidden inside. And now you get to jump out of your skin and be everything that you can be in this lifetime. And guess what? There's no judgment. Absolutely no judgment connected with this process. No one in the world is going to judge you. Yes, in an ascension and wellness, judgment does not exist. Yes, pain doesn't exist. Lack doesn't exist. None of the things that we experience exist in ascension and wellness. And I use wellness and ascension are basically synonymous with one another. Wellness is the mainstream word that humans are seeking. They want financial wellness, mental wellness. They want wellness in every area of their life. And that's what Ascension gives you, and that's what wellness is. So they're basically the same one. Ascension is the spiritual. Wellness is the business word, a word that mainstream world, yes, can relate to. And I want to share with all the listeners, since we're one organism, we are always loved and we are always adored every minute of the day. So there's not a person who exists on earth who's not loved and adored every minute of the day. Because being part, and if you can really visualize it, and I visualize it, I'm over here, or you can put yourself any place, this big giant organism, and I'm doing my thing, and I'm Mr. Rocket Man or whatever. And I'm being loved and adored by God, the universe, and everybody else who's part of this one organism. Yes. Yes. And you know, the ultimate goal, which Jessica wants, Dr. Richard London, and everyone wants in the world, is what you get. When you have complete acceptance of who you are, you have absolute freedom. When you have acceptance of who you are, humanity, the universe, God gives you absolute freedom. Yes. No more punishment. Yes. And guess what, universe? You're not really punishing. You're punishing yourself, but punishment really doesn't exist on earth. Any form of retribution that you're feeling, any actions, is you're co-creating it. But we're not being punished by God. Yes. We're just going through an experience that has a different expression. And many people say to themselves, God is punishing me. When you do that on a consistent basis, you end up punishing yourself. It's not God who's punishing you. You are. Because there is no punishment. Only the response that humans create. I call it cause and effect. Yes? Yep. So if you want God to come to you right now, you listeners out there, listen to the whispers from your soul. And that's when God comes. When you're whispering for your soul, yes, God comes to you. And what God gives you? God gives you the solution. God gives you the wisdom to be able to conquer. Yes. And then all you have to do is allow yourself to receive what God in the universe gives you. Again, allow yourself to receive. And then grace comes. The state of grace, that's a strong natural law. Living in the state of grace. And again, God comes when you listen to the whispers from your soul. Your soul whispers what it desires in life. And then you allow, and this is a hard thing for people to do, allow yourself to receive all those birthrights that you deserve. And again, every emotion and energy is always in motion. So positive emotions are always in motion. So what that means is positive emotions can do lots of good in raising your vibrational energy. Negative emotions in motion, they're going to attach themselves to something And unfortunately, what they're going to attach themselves, they're going to attach themselves to you. Yes. Don't stuff your emotions and feelings. I know I stuffed my emotions and feelings for many, many years because I felt I had to be strong in order to live in my family. Now, starting today, every human being, you have to just let it go out. Scream, jump up and down. Have you ever had a pillow fight, Jessica?
Absolutely, many times.
Yes. Have you ever gone in the bathroom and just screamed at the top of your lungs?
Yes, bathroom, bedroom, anywhere.
Good. We love that. So she's letting her emotions out, and you got to get them all out, especially those fears, the sadness, all the negative emotions, even joy. Get it out. Because once you get all these emotions out, guess what's left? Nothing but beauty. Yeah.
Wow.
Nothing but beauty. Yes. Nothing but beauty is left. It's all those stuffed emotions that make up most people in the universe today. We're all part of humanity. We need to feel at all times. So don't stop yourself from feeling. Express yourself to your boyfriends, girlfriends, to your parents, to people at work. Do it with clarity. Yes. Every human being on this earth, we are all vibrational. We were not put here on this earth to be these brainchilds. Yes. You've heard the word genius? Yes. My definition of a genius is a person who understands his or her soul. Yes. And vibrates and uses their energy to make the world a better place. Yes. Isn't that a greater and a more wonderful definition of a genius than somebody who has an IQ of a certain level? Yes. So no one is alone. We're always being embraced by the divine source every moment of your life. So right now, Jessica, every listener out there, Dr. Richard London, we're all being embraced by the divine source. Let's just stop for just a minute and just feel we're all one organism and we're all embracing one another. Take a deep breath. It's like being in the womb. Yes. Now you know that you're part of one organism and you're being embraced and loved every minute, every second, every moment of your life. And so what you can do, you can embrace yourself. And by embracing yourself, you're actually embracing all of humanity. How do you like that? As you're embracing yourself, you're actually embracing all of humanity. Yes. So right now, allow all your burdens, all your fears, all this density, allow it to wash through you. Just feel it coming up and washing through you. Yes. You're this spiritual washing machine. Yes. And you're washing all this through you. All the burdens, all this density you've created in your life. I can just feel it washing through me. And it's coming out. And it feels so good to leave my body. Yes. It doesn't want to be there. You've allowed it to live there. Yes. Don't allow it to live there anymore. Yes. You know, fears stop you from receiving your birthright. Your birthright is abundance. It's peace. It's love. It's more. And I want to share something with every listener out there. Believe it or not, you have a treasure chest. Jessica, everything you've ever dreamed, everything you've ever wanted, for every lifetime that you've ever lived, it's all in this treasure chest. And it has your vibrational energy attached to it. It's yours. It's individualized. Yes. So there are millions of dollars there. There are ideas for businesses there. There are cars there. There are houses there. There are trips there. There are your most sacred dreams there. It's all in this treasure chest, just sitting there waiting for you. Why haven't you received it? I want my treasure chest. It's mine. It has my vibrational energy attached to it. The reason you haven't received it is because you haven't allowed it to move from the ethereal plane. Yes. And that's where all the souls go. All the souls eventually go to the ethereal plane. And that's where your treasure chest is. That's where the Akashic Records is. All you have to do is allow it. In allowing it, you start the movement. When you've shaked away your fears, your blocks, it starts to come to you in the form of little miracles and then big miracles. Yes. Jessica, can you tell the listeners some of the things you received from your treasure chest in the last year since you're moving into ascension, as far as miracles you created and so forth?
Sure. And one thing that I know is important that you and I have talked about is writing things down, and a lot of this I've written down, but I knew exactly where I wanted to live, the city that I wanted to live in, the neighborhood. Within 2 weeks, a circumstance happened that actually got me out of the lease I was in and into, the exact area that I wanted to live in, which was closer to my family and closer to my work. So it was exactly what I wrote down. Of course, this radio show, a few miracles I've mentioned on the show, but I wanted a stainless steel, refrigerator for the first place that I was moving into. And I know I spoke about it. I looked at it. I looked it up. I was really pricing them out. And then one of my close friends, just out of the blue, said, "I have one, and you can have it." And it was a very expensive refrigerator, and it was perfect, and it was just given to me, without me even asking her or knowing that she had one. So that was so I've been doing a lot of things like that, and just things occurring in my life, things that have normally would have hindered me or stopped me or blocked me or caused depression. I just have a higher understanding, a more expanded understanding of what is actually occurring. So I stay in my energy, and I keep moving and keep expanding. And that's probably been one of the biggest things that I could see that's transformed in my life is being able to stay in my energy despite what is going on in the world or in my workplace or with anybody else. That's probably been one of the biggest miracles.
Wow, Jessica. All those things came from Jessica's treasure chest. How blessed Jessica is to be able to receive those things from your treasure chest. And you have treasures there from this lifetime, when you were a child, other lives as well. It's filled with so many goodies. I call it goodies. My treasure chest constantly is just overflowing and flowing back to me. And it can be with you just the same. Remember, no one's bigger or better. Yes. We're on the same hierarchy. You know, most people are brought up to think, oh, the president is above me. The prime minister is above me. The pope is above me. All living things are on one hierarchy. Yes. Don't allow your fears, your grief, don't allow anything from you receiving your birthright. Yes. Shake it all out of your body. Jump up and down. And those actions, it sounds funny, but those actions of shaking your body, moving your hands, it releases a lot of stuff. Yes. Do it on a regular basis. I know when I'm really, really tired, I get silly, and I do silly things, and I'm jumping up and down, and I'm singing, and so forth, and I'm releasing all this stuff. Yes. You can do it, and you can have fun at the same time. Yes. You know, everybody says, well, how do I find my authenticity? The easiest way to find out your authentic self is sitting with yourself and experiencing every aspect of your humanness. In other words, if you've been jealous in your life, experience jealousy, experience hate, experience anger, experience love, experience grief. Put yourself in a position where you're experiencing every aspect of a human being. And guess what happens? After you've gone through all those experiences, your authenticity shines through. And the real Jessica, the real Dr. Richard London, the real Sally, the real Billy shines through. And remember, listeners, is once you're in wellness, once you're in ascension, you're there forever. In a real forever. In Spanish, the word is siempre. Yes, always, forever, siempre. It's very beautiful. So it's not like a lot of stages in life where you go through a 12-step process and you might fall out, yes, and go back to maybe an addiction. In wellness and ascension, once you're there, you're always there, forever. You're always in peace. You're always loved. And again, you want to be 100% in overflowing every minute of your day. And your listeners out there might say, okay, I have a stressful job. I get on the freeway and the traffic. Yes. I remember I spent thousands of hours with my daughter from the age of 2 until about 16. So that's 14 years on the highways. And instead of creating tension and stress, I created this world for my daughter. I taught her history. I taught her mathematics. I taught her English. I taught her about life. I taught her about wealth. So we spent thousands of hours in the car, in traffic, in California, experiencing life at a high level, no stress, having a lot of fun.
And Doc, it's funny that you... I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was saying it's so funny that you're speaking about your daughter, because it looks like we have a caller on the line, and it is Shirley Spencer that we're speaking about earlier, my mother. So I wanted to get her on the line, and it looks like she has something to add to the conversation.
Oh, sure.
Okay. And Mother Shirley Spencer, you're live on the air with myself and Dr. Richard London.
Hi to both of you. Dr. London is my mentor as well. I just wanted to add that it took me years to lose weight, like 20 years, and I have lost the weight. I'm enjoying everything. I'm joined the gym. I'm doing Zumba. I'm happy. I'm lighter, and that's what's happened to me. So, with many other things in Ascension. But thank you, Dr. London. Thank you, my daughter.
Oh, we love you, Shirley.
Beautiful. Love you too.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Oh, love you, Mom.
I love you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I just had to interrupt. So sorry.
Oh, you're not interrupting. Thanks for sharing. You know, Shirley brought up an important point, and listeners out there, you're going to be amazed when I tell you this. Okay. When you're in ascension and wellness and you're vibrating at a high level, guess what? Just like she said, you get lighter. You get lighter spiritually, you get lighter physically, and guess what? You get younger, absolutely younger. I had people in my spiritual center 95 and 100 years old, and they do not and did not have one wrinkle. I have not one wrinkle.
True.
Not one. Because I'm just flowing over and so happy. And listeners out there, I was a sun lover. I used to lay out in the sun until I was black. Yes. And I don't have one wrinkle. Yes. I'm even amazed. Yes.
Yeah, so, I forgot to mention that as well, because I think since my whole awakening, I lost 30 pounds altogether. Before I decided to commit to Ascension and the Path of Awakening, I was in what you call, depression, and I was holding on to all these dense feelings and emotions, and all of that was reflected in my weight, all that density, and it was the biggest that I had ever been. And it just, as soon as I committed to the Path of Awakening and committed to, being a healthier human being inside and out, I just dropped everything. And I'm 33 years old, and the wives' tale is that it's not supposed to come off, after 30 so easily, but I definitely can attest to that.
Yes. So imagine, listeners, there are such great human benefits, not just spiritual benefits, for being in ascension, for being in wellness. And there's a direct route now. I developed a program called a Life Wellness System. And you go directly from one point directly straight towards wellness. Imagine that. It's really interesting. I've looked at a lot of people, and I spoke with a gentleman tonight, and I had never talked with this person. He heard me on another radio show last night. I was on the radio for 2 hours, and that's a long time. And he told me, and I didn't know it, he had said that everybody in the chat room was going, great show, great show, great show. And I'm always pleased to hear that. But I always know it's going to be great because everything comes divinely from me, and it comes from my heart-centered intelligence. And so I've never met this person, and I was telling him about himself and the things he needed to do in his life. And he has a big, big, giant divine purpose, like many of you listeners out there. And you're doing things in your life, but the shortest distance between 2 points is always a straight line. So when you have the tools, you have the wisdom, you have the high vibrational energy, you go straight into ascension in wellness, fifth dimensional, and then above. Yes, you can go above fifth dimension. Yes. So there's no reason. It's always sad in a way when I see a person going in so many different directions and not going into their divine purpose. Because you should be going into your divine purpose, because it gives you everything that you would like. Jessica's only 33 years old, and she gets to live the rest of her life just overflowing and being able to create everything she wants. And even those materialistic things, it's not bad to have a fancy car. Yes. I had someone tell me today they wanted a Rolls-Royce Phantom. And I didn't know how much they cost now. And I was showing it to my fiancée, and she's never seen a car priced at that amount of money. It was $398,000 to $470,000. Yes, for a Rolls-Royce Phantom. And the reason I'm sharing it with you listeners, the universe doesn't know anything about money. You could easily create a Rolls-Royce Phantom as you could to create a Volkswagen or a Nissan or any car at the other price level. Isn't that wonderful? I could create a Rolls-Royce just as easy as I could a Jetta. You could create a mansion just as easy as living in an apartment. You could create $1 billion just as easy as creating $1. Why? The universe has no idea of time, no idea of denominations, no idea of the value of things. Because all it knows is that humans put the value on everything. So we do. We put the value of the Rolls-Royce Phantom at $400,000 to $470,000 US dollars. It's we who do that. Yes. The universe knows no value system when it comes to monetary. Yes. So what does it mean? It means you can create whatever you want from this point on in your life. You need to move into a high vibrational state. And the vibrational state is not just to 1,000. It goes exponentially tenfold to 10,000, 20,000, 40,000. Yes, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. And every listener out there, you can move to that same level. Yes. And in doing so, it makes you more at peace. It makes you more creative. You can help people at a higher level. It's almost like basketball. Do you like basketball, Jessica?
Played it in high school.
Ah, wonderful. That's what I thought. So I just thought of it. Imagine is that if you were a basketball player and the higher you vibrated, the higher you could jump. Wow, what a great analogy. Yes. The higher your vibration, the higher you could jump.
Now, Dr. Leonard,
pardon me?
Sorry, we're winding down.
Okay.
It went so quickly, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to let the audience know how they can get in contact with you and, chat with you a little bit more on the things that you're saying and how you can provide those tools for them.
Sure. If you would like to reach me, you can go to richardlondon@usa.net and send me an email. That's richardlondon@usa.net. I don't live in a glass house. I will talk and have a chat with anyone who seeks wellness and ascension. Or you could, if you want to see who I am on a website. You can go to doctorateoflife.com. But my two favorite sites, if you want to know more about who I am, you can go to theartistoflife.com. And if you want to see the creative aspect of who I am, go to iloveyoumother-earth.com. So it's iloveyoumother-earth.com, and you will see expressions of love there and information and images like you've never seen in your life. And you could go to theartistoflife.com, Doctorate of Life. And as I said, email me with any questions. I will respond to you very quickly. So, Jessica, it's been a pleasure being with you tonight. Thank you for this opportunity to share divine wisdom. I love you very much, Jessica. I love everyone out there in the universe who took the time and the energies to be with Jessica and I this evening. Thank you,
Dr. London. Thank you. And, of course, we're going to have you on the show again because you have so much wisdom that it's hard to fit it in 1 hour. So we definitely want to have you back. And thank you so much for all that you've done, for myself, my mother, and humanity. And I can't wait for the future to unfold.
Thanks, Jessica. I love you. Good night.
I love you, too. Good night. All right, everyone, that was Dr. Richard London, and he's always just such a treat to have on the show. I like to just allow him to, speak to, what humanity is going through at this time, this evolutionary time in our history, and it also just helps me to stay grounded and on my path of awakening, because it is a continual process of evolution, that ascension or wellness. We're going to continue to grow and expand and vibrate at higher and higher levels. So it's always wonderful to have someone like Dr. Richard London in your life, or shows like this and many other shows on different networks as well that I listen to. So I want to thank everyone for listening to the show. And as always, and I forgot to mention on this show, but the call-in number is always 347-996-3263 if it's your first time listening. And there's always a chat room. So join us next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. And thank you for listening to Ascended Radio, where we are authentically becoming our divine selves.
Welcome to the awakening, the opening of mind eyes. Welcome to the awakening. Welcome to the awakening, the opening of mind eyes. Welcome to the awakening, ascension. Welcome to the awakening, the opening of mind eyes. Welcome to the awakening. Welcome. There is no force that's greater than us. Collective populace, the infinite energy guiding us. We're all touched by the blessing of existence. It's time to put aside all pride and egoistic grievances. I'm on a quest to conquer time, to help to freeze the minds. The intent to project a positive image. Testaments of relevant rhetoric. Releasing what's on my soul is so embedded. It's a part of the code of my genetics, for real. With no aesthetics, using all that I've been blessed with. We've arrived at the nexus, the best of ourselves really reflected. Sent here to protect the neglected, to give our all what the ancestors expect. Welcome to the awakening, the opening of mind's eyes. Welcome to the awakening. Welcome to the awakening, the opening of mind's eyes. Welcome to the awakening, ascension. Welcome to the awakening, the opening of mind's eyes. Welcome to the awakening. We here now. It's a feeling in the exodus of greediness, an influx of meekness, and I believe in us. I have faith and trust in that which should lead us. The light with no limits is the infinite. A piece or a portion of the ever expanding, banding together. Together we're banding to a common connector, appealing to your inherent need to connect to more. Awakening, the opening of opening the mind's eyes. Welcome to the awakening.